I'm Davy, and I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated cult style flicks. This week's review is as cult flick as it gets. It's a movie that instantly became a cult hit the moment it debuted. Mainly because if you're not into cult flicks, you probably only watched maybe 5 minutes of it. But if you did like cult flicks, this was instantly going to be like one of the meccas. This movie was made in 1984, and it was written and directed by Alex Cox, his debut film. And as we keep going, that's going to become more and more apparent. And it was produced by Michael Nesmith, Jonathan Wax, and Peter McCarthy. Made by Edge City Productions, and distributed by Universal Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, Repo Man. The movie opens with a cop pulling over a Chevy Malibu. The cop wants to see inside the trunk.
Oh, you don't want to look in there.
So naturally, he goes to look into the trunk. And he sees the script for the sequel to Glitter! Confetti! Then we go to a grocery store where the lead, Otto, works.
Lucky 7.
Kevin, stop singing, man.
Huh?
Otto is played by Emilio Estevez.
I was like, Emilio!
Otto's boss came over to get on to him about his work performance, so Otto quits. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is how he quits. By pushing his friend Kevin into a stack of canned peaches. That's one way to quit. Most people just quit. Maybe give the finger or something. But not this guy. I'm quitting. My friend's going into the peaches.
Louis, throw it out too. Come on, you.
What are you firing Kevin for? He didn't ask to get thrown into the cans. The next day, Otto meets Bud, who offers Otto $25 if he'll get into his wife's car and drive it out of this bad neighborhood for him.
Where's your old lady at?
Never mind about that. Right now we gotta get both of my cars out of this bad area.
Bud is played by Harry Dean Stanton. But once Otto starts the car, I don't think that's really his old lady's car.
Duh!
Otto follows Bud all the way back to a car lot.
But I'm your old lady.
Helping Hand Acceptance Corporation.
I'm going with she doesn't exist, Otto. They tell Otto, good job, kid. Even offer him a beer.
Beers!
No!
How does that feel, Josh? Watching your favorite actor pour out the very thing that means the most to you in this world.
Bitch!
But they're not mad about him making the mess. I don't know if I'd be mad, but I'd definitely be like, dude, get a frickin' mop.
You're all right!
But Otto says he doesn't care to be a repo man.
You already are.
As Otto is leaving, he runs into their mechanic, Miller. Hey look, it's one of the movie's sponsors. No joke. The company that makes those Pine Tree air fresheners sponsored this movie. That's why they're all over the movie. Otto goes home to get some food.
And mortgage that home, and sell that car, and send me your money.
Luckily for him, there was food in the fridge. Apparently that food was made by a company that really wasn't trying. They just slapped the same generic label that's literally on everything in this movie and said, food, eat it. Otto then tries to talk to his parents about a deal that his dad had made with him previously. His dad had offered to give him $1,000 to go to Europe if he'd finish up school first. Otto's saying he wants to go back to school, but can he get the $1,000 and go to Europe now? And then he promises he'll finish up school.
You know, I really love you, Dad. I've always loved you. You too, Mom. What do you say?
I'd say you're about as convincing as a Catholic priest saying, hey, let's go in the back, I just want to talk. His parents say, sorry, we don't have the money anymore. We gave it to a televangelist. In your name. So Otto decides
Most cars you rip are worth $200 or $300.
to go be a repo man. Otto sees a girl named Layla running.
5'3", girl could not resist it.
Smooth.
You still want to ride or what?
No, I don't.
He wasn't talking to you. As he's driving with Layla. Why is she hiding from those men? Because she has proof and a picture of dead aliens!
Looks like sausage.
What's actually in that picture are inflated condoms. She tells Otto that she's part of a secret society that has uncovered alien life, and they're gonna show the world. Right now, they're in the back of a trunk.
It's a Chevy Malibu.
Yes, that one. Otto gets her to work.
United Fruitcake Outlet.
Fruitcake. I love fruitcake. Num 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 num.
But then instead of going inside, she wants to go in the back seat. Gotta love crazy chicks. Then Otto starts learning from other Repo Men. Like today, he's learning from Light, who's teaching him how to break into a car.
But if his hair's on the hole, you'll find it, boy. Come on, got it.
And how to hotwire it.
Put your seatbelt on, boy.
Wait a second. Light? Bud? Miller? Did you name these Repo Men after beer?
Beers.
Now Otto is learning from Miller.
There ain't no difference between a flying saucer and a time machine.
Sure, there's a difference. Flying saucers float around space and don't go back in time. Time machines are made out of DeLoreans.
I do my best thinking on the bus.
You know, he's definitely the kind of person you would encounter on the bus. Bud and Otto get some news about a Chevy Malibu.
Jesus Christ, $20,000.
The guy driving the Chevy Malibu, Jay Frank, stops at a gas station / car wash.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Vacuum, sir?
You know, Dennis Hopper was originally up to play this part, but they passed on him because at the time, in 1984, Dennis Hopper's behavior was way too erratic. How bad is it that your behavior was too erratic for this movie? While Kevin is vacuuming the inside, two brothers, Napo and Legado Rodriguez, show up.
I think I left a book of matches over in your office over there. You want to go check for me, huh? Sure thing. Hey.
And then... over to Otto, who's attempting to repo a car. That's not good.
Cool, man. Everything's cool, man.
Yeah, them beating the crap out of you is really cool. The Rodriguez brothers are driving around and it's ridiculously hot in this car. So they stop to get a milkshake. They don't know it's worth 20 grand, they're just a few no good nicks. But think of it this way, guys. At least, they don't drink your milkshake. Otto and Light are now repoing their car. Otto's not having a good week, but Light's got this.
Still on the job, white boy. Get in the car.
I think after this, I'd resign. Jay Frank calls Layla from a payphone right across the street.
Look out!
What?
And they catch up to Layla. Help! Oh, help! Please, won't somebody help me? Layla tells these agents about her boyfriend.
For the sake of this and future generations, you must tell us everything you know.
That's Agent Rogers. In the script, she was supposed to have one big metal arm. But due to budget problems, they couldn't afford that, so they just instead put a glove on her hand that makes her look like she's an extreme Michael Jackson fan. Otto's friends come over.
It's working.
A metal hand.
Yeah, sure.
So let's go do some crimes.
Yeah. Because that's how people talk. But as they're about to go do some crimes, they notice Jay Frank trying to get his car back. He dares them to look into the trunk. Why doesn't it vaporize their boots?
Come on, Duke, let's go do those crimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, those crimes aren't going to do themselves.
Yeah, let's go get sushi and not pay.
Oh, you're bad. The next day, Otto sees the Chevy Malibu, and he starts chasing it on foot. Jay Frank makes it easy for him.
You ever feel as if your mind had started to erode?
Yes, the moment I started watching this movie.
Ever been to Utah? I had a lobotomy in the end.
I would too if that would help me forget about Utah. Utah sucks. Jay Frank then starts going into a crazy rant about a neutron bomb. It'll blow you up, but everything else will be safe.
Eyes melt, skin explodes, everybody dead.
Boots unharmed. Then, out of nowhere,
I do feel funny.
Otto is able to pull the car over before it crashes, then pulls J. Frank out, and then he drives over the lot, drops off the car, and then goes to get Bud. Could have done that in the car. Well, how'd that work out, Otto? Otto and Bud first go to a corner store to get a drink.
Duke, Davy, what are you guys doing here?
They're doing some crimes. But this leads to a shootout. And then... And finally... Only Otto and the girl are left.
Do you think it's too late for us to get romantically involved?
I think a little.
Seriously, who writes this crap? Do people really talk like this in your fantasy world? She just leaves and Otto goes to talk to the punk on the floor.
I blame society. Society made me what I am.
Now you were trying to throw a message into this? As far as J. Frank goes, he's fired. Back at the lot, Otto notices that his car is gone. They notice too. Agent Rogers and Layla are behind this.
Since time is short and you may lie, I'm going to have to torture you.
Well, at least she doesn't beat around the bush. They ask, of course, where the Malibu is, and Otto says that somebody took it.
I don't think he knows.
So by all means, keep torturing him. But the Rodriguez boys and Marlene, the receptionist, show up, and they get him out.
Agent Rogers, they're getting away.
It's all part of the plan.
There's a plan? I don't even think there was a plan for the script. And they head over to the hospital where Bud is. Might as well. They're as all over the place as this movie is. But the agents are there too. She's a smooth criminal. Otto tells her again though, he doesn't know where the Malibu is. He doesn't have it, Marlene doesn't have it, so that only leaves one person. Bud. So a distraction is in order. Otto gets back to the yard. Believe it or not, these are not special effects. To do this, they painted the whole car with 3M reflective paint. Otto goes to Bud and tells him this car is worth 20 grand, and they can split it 60-40. But who gets the 60?
Well, I don't know. I figured since I found the car first that you get it.
Good idea. But now they're surrounded.
We got problems, man.
Well, from watching this movie, I'd say the biggest problem was that Alex Cox must have been on shrooms while he was writing it. But Bud is ready. But so were they. While they're trying to get close to the car, they're shocked. But someone can get in. And Miller wants Otto to come with him.
What about our relationship?
I'd leave you just like Otto did. I mean, seriously, who talks like that?
I'm glad I tortured you. How could you leave me? I'm the one who's supposed to...
Otto gets in. I don't know. What makes all this happen? Is it the neutron bomb? Or is it dead aliens? Or is it the alien condoms?
This is intense.
Life of a Repo Man is always intense.
I don't know, but whatever. So there you have it. That's the instant cult classic, Repo Man. This movie did have some success as it had a $1.5 million budget and did $3.7 million in the box office. So it made money. And like I said, the moment it debuted, instantly got cult success. In fact, it's now listed as the number 7 of the top 50 cult classics ever. Basically, this movie is just a guy who got out of film school, wanted to make a movie, and had a lot of fun with it. A lot of people do like to get all intellectual about this movie and talk about all its messages about the Reagan administration that was going on at the time in society. But honestly, I think most people are just looking too much into it. Yes, it has some commentary on it, but mostly it was just a guy who wanted to make a movie. And again, had a lot of fun with it. And I think knew his audience. This movie was definitely self-aware. Like, if this movie's not self-aware, you could have fooled me. Basically, the only people who did actually watch this movie were people like me who love these kinds of trashy cult flicks that you can just sit back and laugh the entire time. And that is the thing. You laugh the entire time you're watching this movie. It's ridiculous. And you can see the low-budget effects in it. Like the fact that they didn't have the effects to make the car glow, so they just painted it with reflective paint. Or they couldn't get a metal arm for the lady, so they just put on a ridiculous glove that did not look like a metal hand. Heck, even the cars in this movie weren't all that flashy, mainly because the majority of the cars in this movie were owned by the cast and crew of this movie. Some people could argue that they had enough of a budget to get Harry Dean Stanton and Emilio Estevez, but what people need to understand is at the time, Emilio Estevez himself was not a huge name yet. Harry Dean Stanton had some notoriety, but it's not like he was ever a huge name. He's a legend among avid movie fans like me. But apparently he was very difficult to work with on this set. Him and the director got into it a lot. Harry Dean Stanton just kind of looked at him like he was an inexperienced young little punk, and well, Alex Cox looked at him like he was a pain in the ass, which he was. There was even stories of him refusing to learn his lines, trying to tell him, just put my lines on a cue card and feed them to me that way. What they did to convince him otherwise, though, was tell him that it was in his SAG contract that he had to learn his lines. I don't know if that's true. I've never had a SAG contract. But hey, it worked. But the thing is, I can imagine why a guy like Harry Dean Stanton, a guy who'd worked with people like Francis Ford Coppola, was probably very annoyed making this movie. For him, I'm pretty sure it was just about getting a paycheck. But hey, it is a fun movie to sit back and watch, not just to make fun of like I like to do, but also to just laugh at the ridiculousness of the plot, the storyline, and the dialogue. The dialogue is so out there. It's amazing. So, if you haven't yet, and you are somebody like me who loves trashy, ridiculous cult flicks, do yourself a favor and watch Repo Man. I recommend it highly. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you love about Repo Man.
I was like, Emilio!
Love you guys.